Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I wasn't going to make this video. I felt that was a little bit obvious until I became a little bit curious, and then I browsed on YouTube, and then a lot of people are, talking about this bow, a lot of YouTubers, but most of the YouTubers are comparing damage with this bow with other bows, and I think people might get a wrong impression about this bow not being good or being very good, because the numbers does not just come from the bow. It comes from your build, comes from your constellation, and comes from your artifact set. Artifact set also comes from your goblet. Let's say what you have in your goblet and what you have on your hourglass, and also your crown. So every single factor is put into consideration when you build a character. So just the bow alone cannot justify the damage, which is why I'm gonna tell you guys how good this bow is, if it's worth investing. So first, before I go into the bow, talk about the bow, I'm gonna let you guys know how you can obtain this in case you're a new player. So the way to acquire this bow is to go to event shop of the current event, go to collab coupon exchange, and with 700 of these coupons you can buy the bow. Okay, so after you buy the bow, you see the visible winds. These are the refinement material, so you can buy 4 of them, which means you can refine this bow to level 5 for free. Well, you need to spend a little bit of effort and these coupon tickets. So next thing you have to also know is that when you want to enhance this bow right now, receives a weapon enhancement experience bonus during the event. So during the event right now, I think, which is until April 9th, when you level up this bow, it's going to be 1.5 times more experience. So which means you're going to use less resources and less gold, less of those enhancement ore. So as a free-to-play player myself, or whoever is watching right now, as a free-to-play, I think this bow is amazing. I'll talk about the stats and everything later and show you the damage comparison, but free-to-play player has trouble obtaining a bow that you don't need to craft, like a bow that doesn't require you to craft, and you can get it refinement rank 5. I think it's pretty amazing. For myself, I've been playing since day 1, and I have no bows nor weapon at refinement 5 except Festering Decider, which is also obtained from one of the past event, which I was able to refine rank 5 for free. So if you were to ask me if this bow is worth investing, I'm going to tell you, if you're a free-to-play player, yes. It's never a mistake to have a refinement rank 5 fully built weapon sitting around. You don't know who can use it in the future. And right now, if you do it, you can save more resources, rather than after the event you're like, you know what, I'm going to level 90 this bow. Then it's too late. You're going to waste more resources, and I think it's not worth it. So the reason why I only stopped at level 80 is because I'm comparing this bow with the rest. And also they're stringless here, but I'm going to mainly compare the bow with Official rather than other characters, because other characters is a little bit more obvious what they can use. I will also explain it. But for Official, she's one of the characters that you can build as a main DPS or a sub DPS. Other user like Diona is obviously a support. Her main DPS is just not relevant. It's very, very poor. So now we're going to talk about the bow now. The description is wrong. So Windblume Wish here, after using an elemental skill, is not correct. It is when you use an elemental skill. Receive a boon from the ancient wish of the Windblume, increasing attack by 16% for 6 seconds at rank 1, and rank 5 is 32%. Okay, so when you use an elemental skill, this will increase your attack damage for 6 seconds. So it's not after, okay? So this bow substats is Elemental Mastery. At level 90, I think it's 165, which is really good for Elemental Mastery. So now you'll be like, okay, so when should I use this bow and who should I use it on? So you use this bow when you are building your character as a sub DPS. As a main DPS, you're gonna lose out a lot of damage because your main DPS, you will be the one active mainly on the battlefield and you'll be attacking the most. So if you're attacking, this loses a lot of attack compared to other 4 stars bow. For example, if I compare it to Rust here, you're already losing this much attack, while Rust also gives you the damage of normal attack by 40%. So this bow here, even though if you have it at refinement rank 5, that 32% is not enough because you lose a lot of attack already. So for example, if you are going to use it on Official, you will need to, okay, so we're going to first talk about as sub DPS. As sub DPS Official, using this bow, you will need to use these 2 sets to make this bow strong. Thunder Soothing, Thunder Soother, and use the other Thunder set, Thundering Fury. These 2 sets are good with this bow. But if you're going to have her as a main DPS, these 2 sets are not very good. Also, if she is at Constellation 1, this bow sucks for her, because Constellation 1 doesn't really improve her elemental skill nor burst. And I would say when you want to use this bow and want to build her as a sub DPS, Constellation 4 and above is where she shines as a sub DPS. And also you can see that her elemental skill and burst scales off of the attack, which means if you do use this Windblume Ode, that attack increase during that 6 second is really good here because it will increase more damage. But if you're going to build Official as a main DPS, so first you will need to unlock her Constellation 1. Of course, at Constellation 6, 4 doesn't matter, you can do that. But I think at 4 and above, her roles kind of change, because she is just better as a DPS support. Main DPS as a bow user is very weak because they're only attacking a single target. Unless you're using Ganyu, that's a different story because her charge shot is amazing. But usually bow user cannot really be a main DPS in my opinion. Okay, so if you were going to build her as the main DPS, sure, you can do that. And you want to use Rust instead, or any other bow than the Windblume Ode, because you're losing a lot of attack. Then here Rust will be really good, gives her a lot of attack. At Constellation 1, she becomes like a machine gun. On top of that, you get increased normal attack damage by 40% on top of this attack percent. And artifact, you would be probably using something else different, because these one is not really good on her anymore, because you're getting resistance and increases damage against opponents affected by electro, but affected by electro also attack too slow at Constellation 1. So you want to build maybe 2 set of something, so maybe 2 set of Gladiator, which increases your attack by 18%. And then you want to build something maybe like Thundering Fury, which increases your electro damage bonus plus 15%. So your normal attack will be increased, your physical attack will be increased, and then your Oz attack, the bird, will also increase his attack by 50%. So that would be a ideal build using Rust and as main DPS and Constellation 1. So again, you will need to know what role you want to play with your character and what kind of artifacts you have. So if you do have her as a sub DPS, you want to make sure your goblet you get electro damage bonus, because your main damage output will be coming out from the bird. But if you do have her as a main DPS, you probably want the goblet to be physical damage bonus, because your Official is the one that dealing the damage output mainly. Okay, so if you were to build, okay, I don't want to go off track. If you're gonna use Windblume Ode here, so you probably want your artifact same as mine, maybe electro damage bonus, and here you can definitely use, I would suggest using attack, because you're losing off a lot of attack. And some people will probably use their hourglass as elemental mastery, but I think the bow itself has enough elemental mastery. You need to make sure you balance your character. You can't have too much elemental mastery. You can't have too much crit rate or too much crit damage while your attack is poor. Then, you know, the multiplier, this doesn't make sense. But anyways, this video is not about how to, you know, build your character, etc. But this is my opinion. So now I'm going to show you guys a comparison of using Windblume Ode here and with Rust on Official. So first I'm going to use Windblume Ode here. Like you can see here, the max crit damage that I can do with Oz is 6,781. And if you look at the physical damage, with crit, the most damage I can do is 2,749. Okay, now I'm going to use Rust. Here with Oz, the max damage with crit I can deal is 7,055. And the physical damage with crit, the most I can get is 4,075. Okay guys, so that's a damage comparison of myself using both bow against the boss with only Official, and this is exactly what all the YouTubers are showing you. And this does not show how strong the bow is, and this does not justify the bow. Everyone that I've seen, they are showing you the effect of the bow, increasing attack for that 6 seconds. No, like honestly, that doesn't show what the elemental mastery do, because elemental mastery only applies when you meet another reaction, when you trigger a reaction, which is overloaded, superconduct, and electro charge when it comes to Official. So they should be showing you the elemental reaction damage, which I'm going to show you guys right now. And obviously, if they're showing you a damage comparison while this bow loses a lot of attack, obviously this bow will look like trash. In these damage comparison video, first I'm going to use the Windblume Ode. What we're looking at is the number of overloaded. So with crit, the most damage I can get from overload is 5,538. Now I'm going to take a look at Rust. With critical damage, the highest number I can get is 6,307. Wyo is constantly getting 5,538, so it's the same as Windblume Ode when it's not crit. Okay guys, so now you guys probably have a better understanding of this bow. So obviously for my full build, with my artifact and constellation, Rust is better for me because I get higher attack. And my elemental mastery, even with Windblume Ode, is just not high enough. I think if you have your Official at maybe 400 or around 400 elemental mastery with this bow, then maybe the overload would do more than Rust. Okay, so if you're going to compare your damage, make sure you try it with your character doing elemental mastery. When it comes to 4 stars bow, it doesn't matter what refinement rank it is at, it is not comparable to 5 stars bow. 5 stars bow, doesn't matter which one, it's just so much better than the 4 stars. So characters I think that this is good at is probably Fenty, and if you have a very high elemental mastery Official. And not everyone has Rust, right? So if you don't have Rust, I think this is really good on Official. Fenty wise, debatable, because Fenty, I think he is better off using Stringless, because it increases both his elemental skill and burst. But again, not everyone has Stringless. So it's a really good bow. It's just that it's not like the best bow, but with the right build, I think it's good. I think on Amber is not very good because Amber elemental skill, well, elemental skill is good, but like when she uses the Baron, Bunny Baron, she will have that increased by 6 seconds. However, I think she is better off increasing more on like crit damage, because she doesn't need crit rate. When you hit weakness spot, you don't need crit rate. It will crit 100%. So he wants to build more critical damage. So Elemental Mastery is probably not really good on her. When it comes to Diona, Diona is pure support. You want to use this bow or Sacrificial Bow, because you want to use more of her elemental skill, or you want to have more energy recharge to use more of her elemental burst. For child wise, I think he doesn't really need that much of elemental mastery. Well, he does, because Vaporize is really strong in the game. But I think there's better bow out there. You really need to have. I don't have child, unfortunately. I cannot test him. And if you do have child, you need to test and really according to your build, your artifact, and your constellation. So you guys be the judge. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a better understanding about this bow. And make sure you are testing it with your elemental reaction, not just the raw damage. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.